hopefully you'll never experience an electrical incident, but if you do, there are a few other things you should know to avoid making the situation even worse. Always assume that a fallen power line is energized or live. Don't touch it. Don't attempt to move it, even with a tool that you believe to be non-conductive. Downed lines are not only deceivingly unpredictable, but you never know when a dead line might suddenly be activated by crews working on other lines. So just stay away and warn others to stay away while you contact the power company.
When it comes to wires falling on equipment or a car, you have to stay clear. If someone's hurting a car, you have to protect yourself. I hate to say it, but sometimes you're better off with one fatality than 2 or 3.
If one of your vehicles comes into contact with a power line, be sure the operator remains inside the vehicle and does not make contact with the metal exterior in any way until you are absolutely sure the lines are de-energized. Again, if the operator attempts to exit the vehicle, he or she could become the path of least resistance for the electricity that is traveling across the vehicle's exterior to reach ground. That's also why no one outside the vehicle should attempt to enter it until the electricity feeding the lines is cut by the power company.
3 months ago, we had a guy working, and it was rainy and really stormy. Well, he goes and backs into one of the poles, and the transformer comes down on top of the truck. He was okay, and he didn't risk his safety by getting out of the truck. He calls the fire department, and they in turn call the power company, and they come out and safely remove the transformer.
I just know at that point, if you try to exit the vehicle and you step on the ground, you become energized, and that can often result in a fatal incident.
Now, what if the vehicle that makes contact catches fire? That's a bad thing. There is a way to exit the vehicle, but it should be attempted only as a last resort because it carries its own risk.
Bottom line, exiting a vehicle that is electrically charged requires that you never touch both the vehicle and the ground at the same time. In other words, you should exit by jumping clear of the vehicle while keeping both feet together so they both hit the ground at the same time. If you were to take a full step, you could be exposed to a hazardous difference in potential between your feet. In fact, the best way to move away from the danger zone at that point is to shuffle, using very small sliding steps until you have reached an area where you are certain you have reached a safe area. And if you find yourself in a situation where someone has come into contact with electricity, your team's training in basic first aid and CPR can mean the difference between life and death for a member of your team, or even you.
But before attempting to deliver aid, be sure the victim is no longer in contact with and a safe distance away from the electrical source.
Touching a victim who is still in contact with electricity means that you become the new path to ground and potentially another victim. Once it's safe to give aid, training in resuscitation breathing and chest compressions can keep someone alive long enough for medics to arrive.
The bottom line is, the rules are in place, the procedures are in place, but if you don't follow them, you're setting yourself up and you're asking for trouble.